Hi. Hello.
Hello, Pete.
Hello. Andrew, Rachel, I was going to look at your names.
Emma.
So, thanks for coming. Really appreciate it. Well, thanks for coming. You invited me to come in. What a great start that was. It's lovely to be back in the library again. And I see we've got a lot of questions to ask. And perhaps tell us a bit about the history of the library and what's going on. I think the first one, really, Andrew, is how old's the library and its history?
So it goes back quite a way. So originally there was a mobile service here, as there has been in many towns and villages. We don't actually know is the answer how far back that goes. I'm sure there are people locally who'll be able to tell you, but we just don't know. But where it started to become more permanent, early 70s, mid 70s, with the arrival of a container library.
Right.
So I don't know if you've seen photos of that.
No, I haven't.
We have got some kicking around that we put out occasionally. And that was here for quite a while, picked up and taken away and swapped with other ones occasionally. 1979, though, was when it started becoming properly permanent. So they decided to leave the container here, make it a bit more of a fixture. Had a shelf life intended of about 10 years. But it wasn't actually until 1994 that we ended up with this purpose-built library to replace the container. We've actually got a photo of this library newly built with the container next to it in the same car park. Sort of
Happy days, I was thinking.
Oh yeah, it was long fought for by local people, and eventually they got this, which obviously at the time was a complete game changer for them.
Fantastic. I mean, I like I say, I always love coming into this library, and it's got a lot of memories. We nearly lost it.
We did indeed.
And, which we'll obviously talk about. Let's talk a bit about it now, if you like. But I'd just started as a councillor, and we tried to save the bank, but hadn't managed that. And the next thing coming along was the library, and there were about 6 or 7 of us who were going to all the meetings, every single one every week, about trying to keep the library, and tremendous support from the parish council, who at first were, I don't know, I asked them to come here and would they meet me here, and they said yes, they all would. And this, what time? I said 3:30. And they came up and they were just amazed. Kids coming in with their parents, coming from the States, and just absolutely, oh, Dad, can I have this one? Can I have this? And Tony Charles, who was one of the parish councillors, and he said, I didn't realise kids read like this anymore. I said, well, they won't if we get rid of this technology. And he said, yeah, quite right. And they were very supportive after that. Plus the Women's Institute.
They were.
They were Rosemary, Dawn, and you'll know all the people that are on your steering committee in that. And I brought Adam Painter, who was the leader of the council, to meet him. And he had the Scottish lady. Do you remember her name?
Anne McSeveny.
Anne McSeveny. Yeah, she's very good officer. I brought them up, and they said, "Oh, we're just going to meet WI." And this thing. I think if they thought they were going to talk about Jam in Jerusalem when they came in, they certainly knew when they came out. They tore bits off them.
Oh, they did.
And Adam was like, "Yes, you can have your library," and they just supported us from then onwards. And the idea was then that we'd devolve it down to the parish council, and I think it's worked quite well since then, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement. It's been probably the best thing that could have happened, really.
Yeah. You got more freedom.
I think that's the big thing. I don't know what everybody else feels, but from my perspective, I think that's the key thing, is to be able to, if you look at all the things that Rachel was putting online on our social media, so many of those things are because we have the freedom to do them now, which before we were just mired in red tape too often.
It's bureaucracies, and unfortunately, all bureaucracies are like that. There's nothing you can do about it, really. But
much smaller organisation we're part of now. Which I think really helps.
Yes, it's a lovely atmosphere when you walk in. But right, we've got some questions that we've negotiated on. We've done some now, done some, you've done some. We've had the first one. Right, this is one for Emma.
Yes.
How many members do you have, and what is the weekly footfall?
So we have about 1,217 active borrowers.
Good God.
That's just for March, though. So that's the active borrowers. So that's people that would have used the library during March, probably. So there might be more on register that haven't been more recently. So obviously, possibly there is a few more. But
that's a fantastic number.
That's just the stats we have. Yeah, that's yeah. So that is quite a lot. So that's active as well. So that's people actually in the library.
Yeah.
but I suppose regularly. And then and then the weekly footfall, so people that we get actually through the door in the week, depends a lot depending on the time of year. So obviously it depends on whether it's the summer or the winter.
Yeah, it was raining or whatever. Yeah.
Well, more summer winter, because we have a lot in the summer just because of like the summer reading challenge and things like that, and the winter is always a bit quieter just because as you said, there's less people around because obviously some of the tourists aren't around, so obviously that affects it a little bit.
Do you holiday mixing?
No. Yes, yeah, we do get quite.
Other doctors, it was a temporary library.
Yeah, there's like a sort of like migrating population of people. I mean, I don't know if we get as many as we used to, because we used to have a lot of seasonal borrowers that were up.
I think it's more now that we're not aware quite so much, because now a lot of people are using the facility, but they might be using it they'll pop in and use the Wi-Fi to check their emails. So we're not necessarily interacting with them as much as we were before, but they are still using the facility.
So I've got some actual numbers. I've got some numbers.
Yes,
so we've got 400 to 750 weekly. That's through the door per week. 400 to 700. It depends on, in the summer, our numbers are more like 600 to 750, so the higher end, and then in the winter it's like closer to 400 to 500 sort of weekly people.
That's amazing.
So yeah.
Is that special for a library, do you think, or is that about average?
For the size of library we are punching above our weight, and have done for quite some time. When we look at the figures from other sites, we do quite well. We're generally, when you look at things like people through the door, issues, number of children taking part in the summer reading challenge, we're not really competing with libraries our own size. We're competing with places more the size of St Ives, as an example. Much bigger
place, much bigger.
I mean, I have some stats for that too, if everyone's interested.
Yes, go
on. Our stats for March, this is issues, so books we loaned. We had about 2,800 books out in this library. Perranporth, for example, which is the same sort of size, 1,700 roughly. Places like Hale and Camborne, which are much bigger than us, we're up to sort of 3,300. So you can see the sort of difference between the libraries that are larger than us. This is for March. So obviously for this size library, we're sort of on par size wise to Perranporth, but we're sort of in the middle between the next size up. And us. So we do have quite a turnover.
That's brilliant. It really is. It's I remember my son. It was my daughter read straight away. Girls are easier, aren't they? The same reason. But I tried everything with him, and all the Edith Blyton and the things, and nothing would match. And then one day he pulled down Jennings and Derbyshire. I mean, that's before your guys started. He's a public school boy in the 50s. What that had got a boy. Attracted the guy to that, and then it came 3 nights later. He came to see me, and he said, "It's half an hour for his bedtime. Can I go to bed early and read?" And you think, yes,
cracked it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Do you have any demographics of the age of the people? Because I always think of libraries as for elderly and young.
That is pretty much that's pretty much it. Most of our borrowers are primary school age children, so that's sort of 6 to 10. In terms of the highest age category is 7 years old. Like 7 years old, we have 80 children.
80 kids.
80 kids registered, and the other ages sort of 6, 7, 8. Well, 6, 8, 9, 10 are a sort of 60. So there's 60 of each of those. So sort of 60, 63, 64, that sort of number. So, so there's still a lot. So in terms of total, the vast majority, like pretty much everyone, and then after that, it's actually adults sort of 35 to 45. There's only about 10 of each age, but that's probably the parents of the younger kids. So yeah. So,
they did when I've been in here before. It's been packed here with the mums and dads talking and the kids pulling books out. It's just
after school gets a bit like.
Well, all these books, you look at them and they're 12, 13 quid each, aren't they? I mean, and it's certainly. I used it with Guy because I couldn't afford books like that.
That's it.
All the time. Because once they're read, you can read them now and again with kids, but
they go through so many as well.
Yes,
the kids take out big stacks, and they have
Oh, they're
like
going out like this.
yeah 10, 12, 18, and
Well, if you think how much that would cost as a parent,
Yeah.
as with a young child, and you're able to take, 10, like I say, 12 up to 18 picture books out.
Well,
It's not, even if they were 10 quid a book.
well,
we all
yes.
know they're more than that.
I'm trying to work that out in my head, but it's
Yeah.
180 quid, I think. No more. And yeah. Right. Okay. Next question. Thanks for that, Emma. The devolution to the parish council is one's for you, Andrew. Pluses and I hope not many minuses.
I mean, as with anything, there are positives and not so much negatives in this case. But I suppose on the downside, because we discussed this as a team before, and the downside really is the lack of that bigger team. So before, because we were part of a wider library service, and although we still are to a degree, we as a staffing team belong to the parish council.
Right.
So if we are stuck, if people are on leave and someone suddenly calls in sick, we can't ring round other libraries anymore and ask if they could maybe lend us something, which we could before. Now it's, our small team of 4 plus our volunteers. That's
Puts
it.
more stress on you guys if somebody's off there.
That's it. It does. And, when I was off sick last year with having an operation, it put a lot of pressure on my team because they're having to replace me with such a small team.
Yeah.
And that is a downside. But I think the positives outweigh it. The main thing that we've got, as I said earlier to you, is because we are now all about this locality. So on the flip side, not being part of that wider team strictly, we're just focused on our local community, on St Agnes Parish and all the little villages that make it up. And I think for us, when we're looking at, what activities and events we can do, we're targeting them at, what do we think is actually going to fit locally? What's going to be a benefit to the people who come in here, and maybe those that don't come in here, and maybe we can do something that pulls them in.
I see all the ideas, you put on Helping Hands and 4 Town Matches and that. It's always something going on.
That's it. Yeah.
yeah, we're going to cover that later on. But yeah, we lots of events coming up. So we've got Dyslexia Cornwall coming next week. That's on the 30th. We've got a poster for that one. Yeah, Dyslexia Cornwall will be here on the 30th. Next
I'll put this on.
Yeah, from 1 till 5. So yeah, they've not been here before, so that's a really useful one. Then we have just like this is only our second go of it, our monthly games night, indoor outdoor games. So again, that's just to pull in a bit of fun for people on a Friday night. We're open till 7 o'clock on a Friday evening. So from 4:30 to 6:30, we get out the garden style games, and people can come and play things like hoop toss or giant Jenga or ball archery and that sort of thing. It's just a bit of fun. And then
This is noisy.
and then one for adults, we've got an author talk coming up.
All right, Lee Russell. I don't know her.
Yeah, crime author. She's written the Geraldine Steele detective series.
Oh right, yes, I've heard of those.
So there's many of those. So she's coming down and getting a talk on the 7th of May. Free tickets for that one, and just the donation on the night for tea and coffee if anyone wants.
Yeah.
So that's things that are coming up. And then recently we've had lots going on recently. We had the fostering team here promoting that service, the Stop Smoking team, Cornwall Wildlife Trust.
How many of the kids under 10 smoke?
There's all ages of the community. So just like working with lots of different partners. We have the RNID here today. So just trying to say we're like a community hub, and we can come along and be present in the community.
Have you been to Mount Hawk Hub yet?
I haven't, but Claire has.
That's I'm going there tomorrow, and that's fantastic. And I know they'd really welcome you guys, like talking to them about your outreach.
Claire went not too long ago.
Oh, right, yeah.
Talked all about the library.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, we had a really good time actually. There was
There was 77.
Yeah, they were really popular over
there. Dr. Whitworth's always Doc Whitworth, as I call him. She's got to do a doctor, and he's always there every time. And they do all sorts of things, and half of the thing is people getting out and about and meeting old friends and doing something. But, right, where are we here?
I should just say as well, though, Rachel's just explained all those things, that actually all those things usually are Rachel puts them out on our Facebook page. And that's another benefit actually of the devolution, is that we have that independence to do things.
You don't have to go through all the
Whereas before we weren't allowed to have our own page because it had to be, because it was corporate under Cllr Council. But now we have that freedom to do so, and we've seen, Rich was growing that page from nothing to 900.
Yeah, started it in lockdown. Actually, that was one of my lockdown chores to do in the spare bedroom. So there was a Facebook group before that, which one of the parish councillors did administer for us. But it wasn't quite working like other libraries were. So then started up our own Facebook page, and from nothing in 2020 now I've got 900 and something followers on that. We're now on Instagram as well. We started that last year. So that's another platform, another way for people to keep in touch with us and find out all these things that we have going on.
It's I never realised I looked at that, but I suppose as a council they have to stop individual things. Well, they don't have to do, but they do. But right, okay. How important are the friends to your work, Andrew?
Oh, they're absolutely integral, especially with, as I said, having this smaller team and not being able to pull. The fact that we have the friends who can support us in so many ways, really. They do a lot for us in terms of being that link to the community, because they are members of the community, and they provide lots of good information about what people are thinking and what people might like to see going on here. They also fundraise for us, so a lot of the activities and events that you see when we're delivering an author talk, for instance, or an activity here in the children's library, it's because the Friends group have supported it financially. Whether they've raised money through going to one of the quiz nights that you do there, or whether they're doing some sort of fundraising here in the library through a quiz or something like that, in-house game or something. But they support all of the activities that we do, and we just wouldn't be able to deliver as much as we do deliver without that support from them. But they also come into the library. They are library users and borrowers. So they'll come in, they'll do some shelf tidying for us, put books away, chat to the customers, and sort of.
Lots of them have worked here before, haven't they? Kay, and there's Kay still on there.
Kay still is, yeah. She's
very lovely lady.
Yeah. And she's one of the people who will remember the old container library.
Yes.
So she's seen the evolution all the way through. But yeah, they all come in, they put books away, they chat to customers, which is a really important bit, because we don't always have the time. When we're really busy, we are just trying to get through the queue and make sure everyone is served and gets what they need. But they can be here and also provide that personal touch and make some book recommendations and spend some time, which we always try to do, but sometimes you just can't get to everybody. But having that extra person around is really, really useful. I think we all really value what they add to the library.
They were fantastic. I came to a few of the meetings years ago, this was, and I thought there was so much going on. They weren't contributing that much. I mean, I did on one of the other podcasts talked about when I first came to St Agnes. I walked in here one day, and I used to read a book club in Lincoln, and I thought, start a book club. Then I came in, I said, okay, and she said, oh yeah, we'll sort that out for you, to get all the books and that sort of thing. I said, great. Then just as I was leaving, I said, have you got any other book clubs in the village? We've got 9. She said, I said, don't bother about mine, I'll join all of them.
We still have several active book clubs going now, and again, that's a really great way for people, because they get a set of books, so it's a nice bag of 12 copies of the same book, so it saves people buying them.
Makes you read them as well, because you know you're going to go to speak to Last time I saw Kay, she was a pirate down there with her kids running around.
Oh, we do like a bit of dressing.
Yeah. Well, I heard that. Right, what have you got on in the next few weeks?
Just the ones I already mentioned, the Chelsea at Cornwall and our Lee Russell author talk on the games night. They're the 3 most pressing nearest ones coming up. We're already starting to think about the summer reading challenge coming up, so that starts in July. And then runs through the summer holidays each year for children. So we're already starting to get some ideas and things about that one. So the theme this year we really like, it's called Story Garden. Story Garden, yeah. So there's a different theme each year. The children can read whichever books they choose, but there's always like a theme of all the graphics and everything. We're really liking that theme this year. It's giving us a lot of scope of things we can story times and things. And we've already approached a few now growers, and they said they're going to come and do a session for us.
Yeah.
So that's really good. And we have asked Community Roots at Porthtowan and the Marine Group as well. So hopefully you'll hear back from them.
Yes.
So yeah, we've hosted them several times. So they're always really popular with the children. So yeah, we hope to do something with them.
I've got doing a podcast with Antonia from the Porthtowan
yeah,
Growers Group,
community group.
and they were fantastic setup.
Yeah, it'd be great if they could want to come along. We're very
Outreach, Rachel.
Yeah, so it's a shame that Claire's not here. So she's the fourth member of our team, and she's the real outreach one. So yeah, so Claire's based here in the library at times and works behind the counter. But then another part of her role is the outreach, which some people might not even know goes on. So she's got really close ties with the 4 schools in our area, 4 primary schools, and a selection of nurseries and preschools. And she goes out to them to deliver story time sessions and rhyme time sessions. Just having that really nice close link with the school and like bringing the library to the school. And then on the flip side, some of the schools come here. I think it's the one that comes. Sorry, we're in the sound. This is a kind of Provence there, really.
You prepared for this, haven't you?
Yeah, is it Mount Hawke School that come quite often? Sorry. Design me. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, really well. All the 4 schools that we've got, Mount Hawke, maybe in St Agnes and Blackwater. So she goes out to them, and then occasionally they come here as well and for visits to the library. So she had a group of what they called reluctant readers in the school. So they came here, and it made it a special thing for them, and so they could really like take the time and see what we had on offer. And then there was another performance one they had at Christmas, Nadelic, which was an adaptation of Craig Green's Christmas for Cornwall, like a little like performance show that they did in here in the library. That went down really well as well. So it's just nice to, it works both ways. Claire goes to them and they come here as well. And then care homes as well. She's got a,
All right, of course.
yeah, so she has a really good,
Never thought about it.
yeah. All goes the part of our community. So she goes so it's again to links with 2 care homes locally. So she delivers them crates of books, and some are large print and some are audio books on CD. And she takes some orders for some people what they're requesting from the library, and then goes to them on a monthly basis. So they can't come to the library, but then she's going out to them.
The hospitals. I mean, I know I used to work in hospitals, obviously as a nurse, and you'd see the book thing going down the corridor. I presume they do that themselves, do they? Or
They take care of all the in-house side of it, so
Right,
they make sure that everyone gets what they've asked. But
yeah,
Claire does all the organising, so she creates the link between obviously those people that unfortunately can't get to us but would want something to read.
yes.
And she's that bridge between the two.
Mm.
So she provides that for them.
And how would people access that? Is it email to you, or just ring you up, or if somebody watches this and think, oh, I'd like some books brought around?
So Claire approached. We did it through the care homes initially. So Claire approached the care homes within our parish and offered, to see whether there'd be any interest, and that's where it started from. So she's slowly starting to build that up. At the moment, we don't have a facility where we can actually deliver to individual people.
Well, okay.
But Cornwall Council still can. So that's a possibility. So if anyone has a relative or themselves who are in the parish but are completely housebound but would want books delivered, we could pass their details with their permission to Cornwall Library Service, and they could look at, do they have any capacity to actually deliver through the mobile service.
Mm-hmm.
Another interesting thing with our outreach as well, the phone box down on the corner by the parish offices. So when she goes into schools and does like an art project with them, normally in conjunction with the story she's reading, then collects art from the schools, and then that gets displayed now in the phone box on the corner there. So look out for that.
None of them got phones anymore.
No, so it's a good use of what it would be a redundant box. So it's turned into a little community art gallery now, and that gets changed quarterly throughout the year.
I think the one down the quay's the only one we've got now, because there's no mobile signal down there. I think we're whizzing through these. I think the next one was visits from school groups, which I think you've sort of touched on. It's one of your questions, do you?
Yeah, I think they got broken down into.
Yeah. Right, I guess. How can I, as a Cornwall councillor, help you guys?
I mean, I guess it's a large part of it is signposting, because as a councillor, you're working with lots of other organisations right the way across the parish, and not just focused on the village of St Agnes, but across the whole parish. And sometimes there's a feeling that everything is St Agnes centric, and a lot of the other wards.
There's some justification in that. Like,
I
not
think,
always, but certainly Port Town and Mount Hawk do feel.
yeah, and you can, as you say, you can see why. And I think that with you overseeing everything, being that link and knowing what's going on all the way across the wards. So if you see, somewhere where we might be able to fit in and help, or vice versa, I think that sort of link between us is a really positive.
Right. I'll certainly look at that when going around places. And the last one is just a bit of fun with you guys to see what gives you the most pleasure in your jobs, and what type of books and authors do you like? Go, Matt. Go on.
Me first. Okay, right. Most play. To be fair, I mean, my favourite part is probably the book recommendation we touched on earlier. Like, I really love trying to find books for people, especially the kids who would like, I've read this, I want something else. Like, trying to find something for them to carry on that reading journey. That's the part I really love. I mean, I like doing it for adults as well. Just trying to find them something to read from all the options, because I get a little bit carried away sometimes. Just trying to find something that's going to work, because sometimes it can be quite difficult. Definitely, but I enjoy that. That's probably my favorite part.
And I suspect you have your really good moments where they come back and say, "Oh, that was great."
Yes, I love getting the feedback when people come back and say, "Oh, I really like this one." Sometimes they don't always like them, but that's always sometimes it's like the taste, because I haven't actually read everything that I recommend.
No.
Sometimes it is just based on other people, because obviously I normally listen to like people that come in and will say, "Hey, I really enjoyed this," and you like, "Oh, okay, what is it?" Make a sort of mental note, and then somebody else who's looking for something similar, you can often be like, "Oh, well, somebody else really likes this one who reads the similar kind of thing," so that sometimes works as well, and you sort of pass them around.
Peer group.
But yes, so it's sort of peer reviewed, so that works quite well. That's quite fun.
Best part of marketing, word of mouth, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, definitely.
What are you reading? What do you like reading?
I read science fiction and fantasy.
Oh, do you?
Yes, so I don't get a lot of stuff that I can recommend to people that I have read, although there are a couple of people, and there was one, the last one that I really enjoyed, which I think it was Bradley O. It was like Dragons of Deepwood Fen, which I recommended to most of the library who read it, obviously, that read that kind of thing, and quite a few of them have read it, and I think nobody's told me it was terrible, so.
You're right in my son's territory there, because we both love J.G. Ballard's one of our favourites.
I don't know.
And I've just sent him The Martian Chronicles by Ray Bradbury. And we he'll come back. We'll read things together, because he's in the Navy, he'll be somewhere else. We both start at the same time and then talk about it.
That's
So,
nice.
Yeah, and my favourite part of the job is delivering the storytime and rhyme time sessions each week. It's just so much fun. So 2:00 every Wednesday here. So I read a story at the start each week, a picture book. And then we have either a craft week or a rhyme time week. So on a craft week, we then do a little like craft activity based on the story. And then on a rhyme time week, we sing nursery rhymes and songs. So yeah, they're my favourite parts of the week, really. So, and then with the rhyme time, we introduced a little bit of Cornish in there as well.
Nice.
So
Nice.
that was an initiative that started last year as part of Cornish Speaking Week. So just trying to carry that on. So we sing like Old MacDonald had and we say Hendra instead of farm, and then we say on that farm he had a like calf for cat, or yar for chicken, or just like the odd little word here and there. Yeah, it's really good fun. So yeah. And it does make me smile when people say to me, "Oh, a library must be a really quiet place to work." And I think you have been when rhyme time is on. It can get really quite noisy, but all little instruments and coloured scarves and puppets, and but it's a really joyous time. It's really nice, and it's really nice to then see the parents chatting to each other as well and making those connections. And yeah,
I work very closely with Debbie and Kerner at the council, the lovely Jenky and all those people. And they'd love to hear that, and I'm presuming they know that anyway, but they'll love to hear that.
Yeah,
Is that all
yeah,
you
there's initiative,
merch?
yeah, from last year, but yeah, we're just carrying it on, and there's a little booklet we can give out as well, and then they can listen to the audio clips of the songs online as well, so they can hear the pronunciation. So
I said to
yeah,
you the other day,
it's
it's a
fun.
bit like Welsh, isn't it? Andrew.
My favourite, I think, really is the summer reading challenge. It's just, it's chaos. It's organised chaos, but it's just so. I think the word is just joyous, really. When you come in here and there are just hordes of children coming in,
Hordes.
They just
Yeah,
pour in.
they shoot out the door sometimes.
Yeah,
Collecting now for kids.
and you've just got them. Yes, it's noisy and chaotic, but it's just so much fun. Seeing how interested and engaged they are, and families together. My particular favourite part, I like hiding all the characters from the treasure hunt, which has become with some of the parents that do chaff, which is their powder, and every year they come in. So, oh, what have you done this year?
What is the challenge then? What do they?
So,
Is it how many books they read? Or?
So the reading challenge is because there's a well-documented dip over the 6-week summer holidays in children's reading ability. So to try and combat that, the National Reading Agency, along with public libraries, they have this challenge where it sounds quite easy. It's 6 books across the summer holidays, but if you think all the barriers to reading in the summer, people are on holiday, they're going away, there's lots of things going on with families and friends.
Yeah.
So it's actually a bit of a commitment for them. But we incentivize them with prizes and stickers and games and things like that. And we try to have events, as Rachel was talking about earlier. And just trying to make it fun. It's not a chore. It's something that's fun, enjoyable. Try to foster that love of reading for pleasure rather than because school have told you or mum and dad have told you. And then at the end they get a medal and a certificate which we go and present in the schools. So it's just a way of linking us with the schools, with the children, but making it fun. And I think for me that's my favourite.
It sounds good. When you just talking about it, it sounds
And we do
challenging.
we do really well at that, don't we, as well, figure-wise.
About 300 kids, I think,
Yeah.
roughly around that number. 300 kids sign up for it.
I think some of that is because how welcoming it is when you come in here. You know, some libraries quite austere when you go in, and it isn't like that.
We're definitely on.
No, not at all. So I think that's going to help. But and what do you read, Andrew?
I prefer things more sort of action, adventure. I'm starting to get into a bit of crime the last few years, but realize I hasten to success. My secret alter these things like a Bowman Cornwell. It's my sort of thing, really. Historical, military history, and things like that. But I do throw in some non-fiction as well. I do like actual military history and sort of archaeology and shipwrecks and things like that.
Oh, what a right place for shipwrecks.
Well, indeed, yeah.
Andrew, Rachel, Emma, that's been lovely. Thank you ever so much. I know you stayed behind after your long day and put up with me, but that's been great. Now, I thank you very much as well on behalf of St Agnes for what you do here. It's brilliant.
Thank you, Pete.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Thanks very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.